So it's finally time to begin our fret job. Now, a good fret job is only as good as what's underneath it. It's like a finish. You've all heard the expression that a finish is only as good as what's underneath it. That is especially true of the fret job. There's a lot of things that have to be done properly before you even get to the point where you want to start pounding in some frets. For example, the neck angle has to be correct. We've already talked about that. You have to have the right amount of slope from the fretboard extension up to the sound hole. You have to have the correct radius on your fretboard. Do a compound radius if you're going to do that. It has to be leveled. All of that has to be done properly. If it's bound, okay, great, but you got to have the fret slots deep enough. There's a lot of things that have to come together to make the instrument playable once you get the strings on it. There's a lot of guitars out there that are just unplayable. Otherwise, they're great instruments. I mean, they look great, but the neck angle is not correct, the radius is not correct on the fretboard, the fretboard is not level, frets are not installed properly, crowned properly, saddle, action, all of that comes into play. And this step, installing the frets, is one small aspect in a lot of things that have to go right in order to get a great end product. So now, let's go ahead and install the frets, but everything has to be done properly up to this point, and I assume that you have done this. Please follow all of the video lessons up to this point to make sure that when you get to this point, the fret job will be a lot less painless. So here's an assortment of fretting tools. You may not need all of these, and some of them are repetitious here, like some of the files here. As I need them, I'll discuss them. Now, fretting tools is one of those things that you're just going to have to bite the bullet. If you want to do your fret job right, just spend some money, get the nice tools, and do it right. This is just one of those cases where you got to have the right tool for the right job. So let's go ahead and get started with the fretting job. I'll discuss the tools as I use them. So the first tool I'm going to use is a super high-tech tool that you can even make yourself. It's just a piece of old fret wire about 2.5 inches long. I cut it and fold it over in an L shape like that. I then come in with a file and file the burrs off of one end there so I can slide it into the slot and out very quickly. Now what this is for is checking the depth of each slot. And this is probably one of the most important tools that you'll use during your fretting job. Remember when we slotted the fretboard, I talked about if you don't get those deep enough, you'll only do that once in your lifetime. It's a real booger to deepen those things. So I'm going to come in and check at each slot and make sure that I have enough depth on the slot. And I'm checking it out here on the ends because that's where I radiused it down. It's taller in the middle, obviously, so if it's good on the ends, then I'm good in the middle. So just come in and check each one. You also want to make sure that you don't have any glue residue on the ends of the frets from when you installed your bindings on there and you bound your fretboard. Alright, so I've passed the first test. All of my slots are deep enough. I can breathe a sigh of relief.